black light, the guiding light, the aboriginal, universal, supreme, conscious council of the elders. And this is Cyberspace Ministry. Professor Soul School's phenomenal channel. You're tuned in to some deep teachings. Only a few will comprehend where I'm coming from. Those with ears to hear and eyes to see, those that have inner visions. We've been talking about Master Farad Muhammad and the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad coming to Detroit in 1930, dropping seeds like I'm dropping seeds over there in Black Bottom to the Lost Found Nation. Everyone wasn't meant to pick up on those seeds and make the seeds be fruitful and multiply. But one was above the rest, and that was the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Now, those teachings took root here in Detroit, Temple Number 1. And so we're talking about trying to get you familiarized with Master Farad. Many black people came against these teachings. Some of them called it voodoo. Have you ever heard of the Kabbalah and the Hermetic teachings? Well, those are the Caucasians' attempt to extract from ancient Kemet the secret mystery teachings. And so Master Farad came from a long line of divine. He was of mixed blood, though. And this was a way of him getting amongst our people. See, our people, they like this today. They don't believe too much coming from a black man or a nigger. They mostly believe what's coming from a Caucasian. So by him looking white, he yeah, black light. So getting back to what I was talking about, Master Farad, I had to put the video on pause. Master Farad came looking like a white man so he could have the white people at ease, but he had all this ancient wisdom of Kemet and beyond Kemet, further back than Kemet. That he had to give to his people. So when they seen a Caucasian looking man dropping this wisdom on the black people, that shook them up. Yeah, that shook them up, man. It shook them up to the point where they had to stop him. Now, this is happening before Elijah got with him. They was trying to stop him then. He had agents in his midst you know, and snitches and backstabbers and everything, hypocrites, all in the early beginnings of these teachings. And there was one guy, I think his name was Cuba, who wrote a book. He had a little short pamphlet he wrote about Master Farad. Now, when Elijah came in there, the enviness and the jealousy creeped in on the brothers because he had a minister, a supreme minister, but Elijah knocked him out of his hopes and ambitions of being a supreme minister, and Master Farad made the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad supreme minister. Changed his name to Kareem Muhammad. He kept Elijah, and he became Elijah Muhammad. And at the same time, his brother, his youngest brother, well, his whole family got involved in the movement, and because Elijah's father was a preacher, and he converted or became a Muslim. He was already a Muslim, but he changed his doctrines to that of Master Farad Muhammad. And his youngest brother was Supreme Minister John Muhammad. Master Farad made him, well, he served every position that he was needed at. And but he ended up being a teacher. You know, the principal of the University of Islam. And I got a lot of my info from Supreme Minister John Muhammad of those early years in the Nation of Islam. My uncle, when I was very little, my uncle lived on the street called Harding, and he housed, he had a two-family flat, and Minister Limnio was the minister, and my uncle gave up a flat or a apartment in one of his my uncle's house to Minister Limnio. I hope I'm saying this right, his name right, Limnio. Y'all brothers know what I'm talking about. He was the minister of Temple Number 1. I think this was back in the early 50s, somewhere in the 50s. And I was too little to understand what was, you know, taking place before me. And but every time I'm around my uncle would kick out some supreme wisdom. So my uncle had books that he had got from all over the world, all over the planet. Scientific books on how to graft certain type of animals, like the swine, the pig. And he told me at a very young age not to eat that swine because it had a trichiny worm in it. And that trichiny worm lives in your spinal area, spinal cord, around the nerves, and causes high blood pressure, arthritis, rheumatism, and eventually will kill you. Out of all the meats, that was the most deadliest meat. I heard the messenger say, don't eat beef and the rest of chicken and whatever. But if you must eat chicken or meats, make sure that the cow is killed a certain way, it is bred a certain way, it is fed a certain way. And he said the chickens, you know, we're not gonna let we're gonna raise some chickens, but we're not gonna let their feet touch the ground because they nasty. Chickens are scavengers, you know. But you could clean them up. You could clean chicken up. And he said the best bird to eat was a baby pigeon. And he didn't say turkey was all right either. Turkey was some kin to the vultures and the buzzards. So he forbade turkey. It was some certain wild game that he forbade, like ducks. He said don't eat ducks because they some kin to swans. And as you know, we read in the Quran, in the Bible, that Leviticus, that these were forbidden birds to eat. It's a black light out.